Okay, so we are here because there are so many events going on, and there's lots of activity happening with lots of things. And I'm noticing that a lot of people that I'm talking to are expressing challenges with being fatigued by keeping up with it all. And Michelle, I started doing these conversations for various reasons, and I'm continuing to do it because I keep meeting. It's not meeting, but seeing interesting people like you. I don't consider that we just met because I've been following you for some years. So I just wanted to have a platform where I got to talk more to people and hear what they're going on. And as what I do, I'm a collaboration advisor. I advise people on their collaborations, everything from podcasts to panels, depending on what capacity you have, and tech and team and tech capacity. Is it low? Is it high? If it's low, a full blown affiliate program might not be the thing to do. But I want you to introduce yourself, and then we'll take the conversation from there.
Yeah, very cool. I'm glad we can connect. So, Michelle Ngome, based in Houston, Texas. I am an inclusive marketing consultant. So, I help organizations create inclusive marketing strategies, and we can dive into those details later. And then in 2019, I launched the African American Marketing Association. We are a nonprofit galvanizing Black marketers across the world and providing them with resources and opportunities to help grow their career and business.
Awesome, awesome. So, a lot of the people that I am connected to on LinkedIn, they're actually a diverse group of people.
Mm.
Um, they're marketers, they are problem solvers, and I think the uniting thread is like they're customer obsessed, and they find themselves they're in different roles. And for people who might be a Black marketer and feeling isolated, with their role and in their position or in their company, um, is that the problem that you noticed that made you decide to start the African American Marketing Association, or was it another challenge or problem that you saw?
That was one of them. That was probably one of many. I lost count, but that was definitely one of them. So I actually had the idea for the organization in 2013, but I was too new, just too green. I had just graduated with my master's. I left corporate. I was starting my company. So even though I knew it was needed, I wasn't even in the right headspace to figure out, to identify the problems, let alone, the solution. But if we fast forward to 2018, I realized, not myself as well as my peers, we were working for these companies, small, medium, and large, and we were a marketing team of one, right? And this just wasn't just Black marketers. This was, Black, white, Latino. And it was like, why is there only one or two people working in the marketing department when marketing is so broad? So how can we create a community to have these conversations? The second thing, maybe even to me at the time, the more important thing was there was a lot of misrepresentation when it came to all kinds of marketing campaigns, be it digital or TV. It was just like, how are these how are these commercials getting approved? Who's in the room? Some of it was what I would consider blatant disrespectful. Some of it was just cultural nuances, where you do need someone to kind of speak up regarding, like, hey, this is a stereotype. This can be taken the wrong way. And so once again, where are we? I know we're out here, but can we kind of get together in a centralized place and kind of talk about, some of the struggles we are having at work, or even in business as well?
Awesome. I know that a lot of times, from what I've seen, it can be a challenge to speak up. Say
Mhm.
you are in those meetings and ideas are being discussed, and something is just like, wow, this is just wrong. Finding the words to speak up in that moment can be challenging. And I would imagine it would be amazing to be able to, have a community to go back and ask questions to. Is this community hosted? And I'm just curious, hosted on Facebook? Is it a Slack community? Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, so we definitely have a Facebook group. We have a members only Facebook group. We try to do monthly meetings. for personal and professional development. We have a job board, as well as a newsletter. So just trying to find different ways to keep people engaged, and of course, our social media platforms. Currently, we have about 500 to 600 members nationwide.
Wow, awesome, awesome. So tell me about the event that you have coming up. Marketing for the Culture, is that the name of the event?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Marketing for the Culture is the name of our podcast. We've been doing that for a year. And then we decided to name our event the Summit, Marketing for the Culture Summit, which would take place on Thursday, May 12th in Atlanta, Georgia at the Gathering Spot, which I think is really important because that's a Black owned establishment. So, the point of the conference, the theme is called Monetize Your Content. So, we know with social media and technology, things are moving really, really fast. I think at this point, we're pretty much content creators, if we like it or not. But if you do like it, how can you monetize your content, right? How can you create systems and processes that's going to allow you to make a digital product, maybe get a brand deal? What technology, what platforms do you need to use? How can you make money off a live stream, as well as lead generation? So those are some of the things we're going to explore that day. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I think we have some great speakers that are very established. And I think the content is going to be really good.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm curious, what made you decide to launch a podcast? Because that's no small undertaking. We were just talking about repurposing,
Yeah.
and yes. So
Yeah.
tell me more.
So I'm going to say this. In 2015, I launched my first podcast, Networking with Michelle. And at that time, I wanted to find a way to grow my brand the cheapest way possible. And it was podcasting. And one thing I say, and I know things have changed, 2015 doesn't seem that long ago, but a lot has changed. And I will say, and this still remains true. I think when I had my book, I was promoting my book and I was doing podcast interviews. That book allowed me to request to be on people's platform. Like, hey, I have a book. This is what I want to talk about. If I have a podcast, I could reach out to people and say, hey, I would love to get you on my show and talk about XYZ. Or people can reach out to me, right? And I think it's probably one of the best, affordable, fastest, most efficient way to grow your brand in today's climate.
Yeah, I also have seen it work, and it's worked for me and other people. For people who want to use it that way, podcast can absolutely be a sales tool, because
Yes.
if you reach out to somebody cold, to say, "Hey, I like to do business with you," that could be one of the few different, responses. Or you can say, hey, I know that you're a thought leader and blah, blah, blah. You're expert in this, that, and the other. We serve a similar audience. I'd like to have you on my show. And it's just a way for you to start to have a conversation with them, with somebody that you may not have otherwise, or maybe have a conversation where you talk about lots of things, and maybe it would have taken you, I don't know, 12 touches to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. I've made a lot of money through podcasting, and I haven't done a course or anything like that. But when I think about all of the speaking gigs, book promotion, and sales that I'm doing on my platform, when I'm thinking about just the little things that I put it in my bio, those things stand out, especially 2015, 2018. Those things stood out a lot more because it wasn't as competitive. Now, with Marketing for the Culture podcast, a lot of Black marketing groups have popped up within the past 2 years. So it's one of those things that even though we support each other, there's still that competitive, at least for me, there's some competitive edge in the sense of what can I do differently, right? And because I already had that podcast experience, I'm like, we can do a podcast. And it's helped with donations, it's helped with sponsorships and support, because Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people and groups in general that are doing the work, but when you have that thing that kind of sets you apart, it definitely helps with the brand.
Yeah, and what I like too about having an industry where there's like more than one person doing a thing, I feel like it shows area of expansion
Mm,
because there are nuances to different groups, and there isn't like one. I don't believe in like there's like one wedding planner association. You know, you have wedding planner associations that address travel or destination weddings, and then you have ones that are more so for the intimate, you know, and then there might be others that are attached to specific cultural backgrounds, and that might not be a great example for this. But I think it's kind of cool that there are various groups that come up because for various reasons, I feel like there are professionals who'll be more attracted to one group or another. And I know that some people have thought about joining a professional association, but because of whatever reason, there wasn't, you know, a click or not a click. There wasn't a match with that particular one. They may have sworn off all together, you know, all of them. And I am a fan of we go faster together. I think that's the
mm-hmm.
word. And it's really cool when you're able to find something that matches with you. And if you know it's not that one, look around for something similar because there might be something similar that can support. That's like pretty cool. Um, that you and also pretty cool that you have a podcast that is um, is I don't want to say like you're not your first rodeo because there's a lot of people who and I hope this will make sense, but there's a lot of people who start a podcast and you know after episode 2 or 3
It's
they don't
tough.
yeah. So didn't plan to ask you about this, but what has helped you keep your podcast going? I mean, do you have a team that supports you? Do you, um, at this point, do you just have a system that works? I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
So this round, I have a partner. So I have CL Palmer. He's co-host and podcast editor, and he has been such a blessing. Oh my gosh. Because I always say people underestimate podcasting. They feel like they can just turn on the microphone, talk with their friends, and that's it. But it's like, there's just stuff behind the scenes, right? So I think what makes him special as well is he's been podcasting for several years and he loves podcasting. So that helps tremendously. We get together sometimes. We talk about trending topics, marketing news, social media news, influencer marketing news, things of that nature. And then he might do some interviews. I'll do a set of interviews. So it really just takes the load, at least for me. I don't know about for me, it definitely takes the load off. And of course we have our system and he takes care of it. And it helps with, social media when we talk about repurposing, creating the video clips for Reels, TikTok, things of that nature. Um, so yeah, but yeah, it's a lot of work. It's more than just talking people, and even then, at this point, talking or podcasting has become a skill, or it should become. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like the listener audience has definitely matured along with the
Mm,
medium,
that's good.
because I feel like I think 2012 is when I first started listening to podcasts, and it was because of a class. They're like, you know, new forms
Hmm.
of media, wanting us to look for,
Yeah.
search for our specialty. It was a nursing class. So go to Apple Podcasts, search for your, you know, nursing and see what comes up and listen to what comes up. And so that was my first exposure in 2012. And so when I go back and listen to some old, you know, old 2012, right? But like you said, things developed. So
10 years
like that. That's
ago.
absolutely 10 years
Yeah.
ago. That is absolutely 10 years ago. But it's like, wow, oh my goodness. But it's just so interesting. So yeah,
It
go ahead.
sometimes I'm a little secret. Sometimes I feel like I've been ahead of my time, right? And so there's that part. And when I had networking with Michelle, I wasn't consistent because I was new to podcasting. Podcasting was still fairly new. I have an Android phone, but I remember grabbing my friend's phone, especially iPhones, and be like, "This purple microphone is how you can listen to my podcast," you know. And I do think people that came out between 2018 and 2020 have really like just exploded. It's just changed completely. So yeah, it's a wild landscape around here. Very
Yeah.
entertaining at this moment.
Yes, yes. Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us. And I forgot to welcome and greet people who are joining us, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Podcasting is definitely a skill I have listed as part of my VA job description. Yes, yes, yes. And what's so cool about podcasting is that you are literally can be inside of the ears of your best buyers or their influencers, almost more importantly, their influencers, because that's really a wonderful way to have almost exponential word of mouth if you decide to target people who are not target people, but get on podcasts of people who are influencers to your best buyers is it's just an amazing medium. But so tell me more about the summit, or not the summit. Is it what are you considering
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
summit.
summit.
Okay,
It's a
the
summit.
summit. Tell me more about it. It's like putting on an event. And I know I don't want to keep this under 20 minutes, but putting on an event. Speaking of things that are like no small notions. Oh my word.
Yeah, so once again, we launched in 2019. So like every year I'm literally thinking, how can we outdo ourselves? And I think this is the year with the event. Um, so yeah, so I'm hoping once it's over, I can really do a sit down and kind of uncover everything that has happened. I mean, a basic local networking event makes me nervous, and now I'm planning an event in a different city. I'm in Houston, the event's in Atlanta, but I'm grateful, and I feel like I'm pulling out all the stops within my budget. We've had some billboards, we've had Spotify ads, we have iHeartRadio ads that are going to start next week. Of course, Facebook and Instagram ads, whether it's brand awareness, retargeting. And one thing I'm really curious to see is with the billboards. Um, we're gonna so we have the billboards in downtown Atlanta, but then we have an image, I guess, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a billboard image, not our billboard, but it's the actual photo, but it's going to be for Instagram and Facebook. And then we're going to run ads, geo target. So it's like if you're downtown in these particular zip codes and you see the live billboard, hopefully when you get on your phone, you'll see the same billboard. And so we're just really trying to pull out all of the stops when it comes to marketing strategy and tactics, and not just increase brand awareness, but really get people to pique their curiosity in order for them to buy a ticket. At the same time, I do speak professionally, so being on the other end and rallying up speakers has been a very humbling experience. um, but I felt like, once again, this has given me the opportunity to kind of look at people that I didn't know, but I was curious because of their LinkedIn profiles, or I didn't know, and I'm like, hey, maybe this is our chance to work together. What does it take? So that's been great. I'm really excited. We have Marquel Russell as the keynote. He
I'm a
has
fan. I'll say that. I'm a
Yeah,
fan.
he has
Awesome. Wow.
client attraction
Yes.
university,
Yes.
and this brother's just a beast on social media.
Pretty
He's a
much.
beast when it comes to systems, lead generation. So I'm really happy about that, and he's been a pleasure to work with, him and his team. But
Mhm.
once again, I really want people to understand, like, there's so much money out there. How can you get a fraction of this, right? What do you have to, one, learn, apply, get it together in order for you to have the full package to get the money that you deserve? Once again, we're all creating content. We're all creating content. But if you feel like you're a serious content creator, how can you monetize your content? And that's what I want people to get out of the event.
Awesome, awesome. And we didn't even plan for you to talk about like all the collaborations because when it comes to a lot of professionals that are in my network, they are experiencing some level of marketing fatigue,
Oh
and
yeah.
in a wonderful way, yes, and a wonderful way to combat that is to think about your partnerships and collaborations. You do not have to be the only one sounding your battle cry or amplifying your voice. It does not have to be that way. And I look at Marquel Russell, you know, he has people literally clamoring to share stage to have him like on their stages. And I mean, and I'm sure he has people who are, you know, helping him to be more intentional about what stages,
Mhm.
but you know, there are people who are opening up stages and having like, can you come on? I'll gather the people. Don't worry about it. You just come there and be your brilliant self. And
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I mean it's a beautiful thing when you get to that point in your career, right? I guess on both ends because I've been following him. I've heard him on some podcasts, and people told me about him. I've asked about him, so it's like okay, okay. And then this opportunity comes and it was a piece of cake. Like it was so seamless. And so big shout outs to him and his team.
Awesome, awesome. That is so cool. I'm going to be asking you more questions because we're not going to make
Yeah.
this a Markel Russell fan girl situation because it could so go there. Because I have like so many questions for you. But and I believe is he like vegetarian too, like vegan? I think I don't
I
know
don't know.
because he's like something else. I was like, of course you would be. But any case, um, Tiffany says, "Oh wow, Michelle, I love that you're doing advertising like billboards. That's no small cost." Yes, yes, that is absolutely. And it's like I can't. I mean, I can't wait for this to happen for you for lots of reasons because no pressure. I'm like almost curious. Not almost. I'm very curious about what a case study situation would be like. You know, after all this is said and done. I mean, goodness gracious, that would be absolutely incredible to read.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna be honest, there's been a lot of hiccups in this journey. However, right now I just want to have proof of concept. And as soon as, you know, we kind of finish everything, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take a vacation. But when I start working again in June, I'm like, okay, this is the video footage, this is the case study, putting that together. And then I'm like, okay, July, August, start approaching these companies for sponsorships. And let me just say this, there's been a lot of mistakes.
They're data
there's,
points. They're data points.
there's been a lot of
A lot of
mistakes,
data points. There's been
a
a lot
lot
of
of
data
data
points.
points.
Yes.
So with that, I definitely need some more runway. And then I want to bring Marketing for the Culture Summit here in Houston, my hometown, where it probably belongs. And yeah, let's see what happens in 2023.
Awesome. Awesome. So I wrote some of the dates down that you mentioned, and I'm going to be circling back and like asking you all the questions.
Yes.
Um,
And
yes.
yeah, talk
Awesome.
offline
Awesome.
when I can talk
Awesome.
freely.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Michelle. Well, thank you so, so much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all that you have done for marketing for the culture. And Tiffany says, yes, sponsorship is so accessible. You can do that easily. Yes, yes.
Thank
You
you.
guys should meet. And I always say this, like, I screen like all of my guests for approachability and friendliness. And I say that my nurse spidey sense has never failed me wrong on that. So that means if you see me talking to somebody, you can absolutely reach out to them directly. Slash, people have gone back to these past episodes and done networking. They've reached out to people and lovely things have been happening. So yes, please reach out to Michelle. And someone else says, thank you, Michelle. Lovely, lovely. So thank you guys for joining. If you want to reach out to Michelle directly, please do. If you're kind of nervous about that, reach out to me and I'll introduce you to Michelle. And I will update the situation with more details about your event. And I'll tag Markel Russell as well. Maybe
Hey.
he'll drop by. Um, we'll see what happens. But follow him, Markel Russell. Follow him. most active. I feel like he's most active on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So follow him over there, but we'll update this with his information too. Any case, you take care and thank you again so much. And thank you all for joining.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.